We're already seeing the impacts from punishing tariffs on everything from steel to Canadian lumber.
Yeah, we asked you last week to send us some questions about tariffs and how it's impacting your life. Got a big response, and one question we received was about lumber costs. One viewer wrote, if Trump is taxing Canadian imports of lumber, why don't we just log more lumber in Washington state to offset the cost? A really bright question, I felt like. King 5's Drew Andre took that question to the head of the Department of Natural Resources. Drew, it seems like an obvious question. What did you find out?
All right, well, we learned that there are some ways that they can increase production, but there are some really major barriers that stand in the way of making that a reality. And because of that, the Public Lands Commissioner told us that he does not believe that it would be realistic to increase production enough to offset the cost increases that would come from tariffs on timber. Now, Washington state is one of the most productive parts of the country for growing timber. Most of that is here west of the Cascades. The State Department of Natural Resources manages about 2 million acres of timberland, but only half of that can be harvested because of terrain or environmental reasons. For example, an endangered species habitat. Now, that's just a small portion compared to the timber British Columbia has, or even federal lands in our state, but hardly any timber is harvested there on federal lands. Public Lands Commissioner Democrat Dave Upthegrove says the same environmental reasons would prevent the federal government from quickly opening up more land to be harvested.
Some of our limits are making sure that we're not over-harvesting, that we're doing this in an economically sustainable and environmentally sustainable way. We have the ability, a little bit of room on our state lands to harvest a little bit more, but what we found is a limiting factor is people. It takes high-skilled foresters to do this work, but we struggle to get employees who want to live and work out in these remote areas. I think the federal government is going to face those same challenges.
For example, the president can't unilaterally change laws protecting land. It would require the help of Congress, too, and Upthegrove expects there would be lengthy litigation. In the meantime, Upthegrove says tariffs will make wood production more expensive and likely drive up new home prices and costs of projects like home remodeling. So, for all of those reasons there, the state believes that it is unlikely that Washington can offset the cost of these tariffs here.
Wow, in the Evergreen State, you would think we would have enough logs, but obviously a lot standing in the way.
Yes, yep, and again, they have to really take into account not over-harvesting for the long future ahead for our state, too.
A great question from our viewer. Thanks for answering that, Drew. If you've got questions about tariffs that you'd like our team to answer, you can send them to us by texting us at 206-448-4545. We're talking to state and industry leaders to find the answers for you.